So we just wrapped up our first Zoom call earlier this week, and it was really, really encouraging. It was motivating. It was exciting. And I think a lot of you guys got a lot of value from the insights that I was trying to provide in terms of how to find not just production music libraries. Finding them isn't that hard, but how do you find the right ones for you and your music and your career goals and really what you're in this for. There's all different types of considerations, and it's really important that you take a little bit of time to research these companies first before you start making music. And that's what the topic of today's video is. It's just a further explanation as to why I'm doing it this way in Sync Focus and why you potentially want to follow along. It's not too late to get started. You can join us at any time. Click on the link below, and all the replays and all the benefits of this program are available to you within Sync Academy at any time throughout the year. But we're still in January, so you haven't missed the boat yet. And the reason why we're going to do it this way in terms of finding 3 to 5, that's what I'm asking all of you guys that participate with us, find 3 to 5 high quality, top rated, boutique, smaller. I don't really point you guys towards the larger APMs, Universals, BMGs, and we talked about that on Monday. Why? But smaller boutique companies that can really give you the time of day that you can actually network with and build a personal relationship with. Very, very important. But you want to start with 3 to 5 of those companies that would be your dream list of who you want to pitch to eventually at some point, maybe at the end of this year, middle of the year, maybe even into 2026. That's okay. There's no race on this. Whenever you feel that your tracks are ready to be pitched, it's definitely better to wait until you're very confident that they're the best that they could possibly be. Okay, and we're going to talk more about in February and March how to make sure that you're consistently getting better at your craft and making sure your tracks are very licensable. But imagine you did all of this work in terms of just creating music and getting into your home session, home studio, cranking out music, and you didn't do this initial, couple of hours worth of work? Not a lot, right? But just finding basically the specific companies you want to pitch to, knowing what their catalog sounds like, maybe listening to a lot of the music, using some of those tracks as your reference tracks to know that you're modeling yourself after something that's proven to be accepted by the libraries and many times placed. But if you didn't do any of that and you just started making music, which is what a lot of producers do, we're going to try to not have you guys do that. You could essentially be spending weeks, months, or even the full year working really hard, right? Working extremely hard, putting in your hours, crafting music, writing beautiful pieces of music, elegant, works of art essentially, and really getting excited about it and staying productive, staying motivated, staying focused, cranking out music, track after track after track after track, maybe winding up with an album, 2 albums, multiple albums, right? And then you turn around and you go, okay, now that I've got the product, I've got high quality music, I got to go find where this fits into the industry. Hopefully you can see how risky that could potentially be, because it's a possibility that maybe you've created something great. Maybe you've created something that would be licensable and marketable and useful. But if you didn't do this research beforehand, what are the odds? I would say pretty low. I would say I couldn't give a specific number on it, but I would say less than 50% chance that if you haven't done a little bit of market research to know how long should your tracks be, how should they be structured, how should they start, how should they end, how focused emotionally should each track be, should there be vocals? If there are, what types of lyrics should I include on them? What sort of lead elements and lead instruments should I be using? How busy should a lead element or an instrument be? Should it be really noisy? Should it be a little bit more minimal? All of these different factors, right? If you haven't done the research, you haven't done the market research, you don't know exactly what is in demand right now in 2025, and you're just hoping that at some point when you've done all this work and you've poured hours and hours and hours into your craft, that you'll just stumble across some library that just happens to find your music really, really licensable. I wish you all the best with it. I really do. I just don't think that's the smart approach. I think that's you working hard, not working smart though, okay? Everybody's going to have to work hard. There's no getting around that. So I'm not offering you guys an easier path in terms of you're not going to have to work hard. Everybody in Sync Focus is working their butt off. We are working hard with this challenge, okay? But those of you that came to the Zoom call, or at least watched the replay, those of you that are following along with Sync Focus 2025, you're doing the smart thing here, which is to understand where you should be spending your time in your creativity and all the hours you're about to pour into your music as we roll out the rest of the year. You've already got a target. You know exactly where your tracks are intended to be pitched course, there's no guarantee that they get accepted. Let's say all 3 to 5 companies say no, right? They don't get back to you or they politely decline. Does that mean that you just wasted a whole bunch of time? No, because if you have studied between 3 to 5 different companies on their catalog, what's working, what's high in demand, very good chances, much higher than 50% chance, that you'll be able to find other companies that have similar music, that have similar clients, that have similar demands, because we're kind of in a universal industry here. It's not like one company is going to create minimal tension cues and the other one's going to have wild death metal polka instrumental cues, minimal cues, and it's like a world of difference between the two of them. No, if one company is serving reality TV show clients with minimal tension music, chances are the next company that also serves reality TV show clients are also going to have their catalog and their albums full of minimal tension music, which will be fairly similar, right? So it's not completely separate and different, and it's not like every catalog is wildly different. Yes, they're all going to have their different kind of, assets and strengths and all that kind of things and features that's what they're trying to do in the marketplace to create a competitive edge. But across the board, production music is production music. So this process will help you regardless of whether or not these 3 to 5 companies say yes to you or not. You're at least going to know that you're not flying blind here. You're not just hoping that you're going to be able to land this thing without a plan. You're going to know exactly where your music is going to go. You're going to have some reference tracks to basically analyze them and A/B compare your tracks to theirs. We're going to talk more about that as we get into February. And you're going to know exactly what you should be doing to make sure you're not just spinning your wheels. I know most of you have 5 hours a week to give to this, 10 hours a week, maybe a little bit more. Some of you even less than 5 hours. That's okay. You start with where you need to start. But your time is limited. Your time is precious. Does it make sense at all to just fly blind and try and stab in the dark for this kind of stuff with your limited time? I don't think it does at all. I think it makes much more sense to follow in the footsteps, not copy, rip off, but be inspired by and emulate other successful production music that's in your style and in your lane and in your genre. So that's what we're really doing with Sync Focus. And once again, your invitation is always on the table. You can join us at any time in Sync Academy to get the full access to all the interactive benefits and features of this challenge. Our next bi-monthly check-in with each other is going to be Friday, January 17th, I believe is the date. So 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern time. We're going to do bi-monthly check-ins in terms of in the middle of the month. We're going to do a little check-in with each other and allow you guys to get into smaller mastermind groups so you guys can check in, build some more relationships, maybe open up some collaboration opportunities, and just create a lot more community between yourselves so that you guys have other people that you can potentially reach out to personally, directly, if you'd like to. It's definitely motivating. It's definitely very helpful. And I think it's one of those things that we all need in this industry because we are all in our home pods, isolated, and it's not an in-person kind of a reality, industry. It's a much more virtual, digital Zoom call type of an industry. So anything that we can do to create a little more community and camaraderie around ourselves, I think that's a really important thing. And that's also what you're getting with Sync Focus. So wish you guys all continued success with your Sync Focus challenge. And we're obviously, many of you should be getting started right now in terms of cranking out your first track. We're going to be doing 2 minimum tracks, 2 tracks minimum each month. And also really this week is about researching, looking up libraries, finding them, listening to their catalog, understanding what is working, what are the common elements of these reference tracks of their catalog, and really nailing down your 3 to 5 companies. That's really what I want you guys to be focusing on this week.